Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we have a really exciting topic. It is going to be going through basically a first sort of draft of a tier list which has been come up by the AFK Analytica Discord community. I'll leave a link to their Discord server in the description of this video. So I'm really excited to go through this because I've gone through, for example, Pride Win, PvP, Dream on tier list whenever they get updated with new heroes added, and that is a lot of fun to talk about and discuss the rankings. This one is actually going to be a really sort of accurate tier list, and it will have like very basically the heroes who are the top tier of the rank category, like the first columns we have here. These are overall the best heroes in the game, including all of the different game modes, AFK stages, Arena, Supreme Arena, Dream Realm. Okay, and even they have more subdivision. Like if you take a look at the rest of the rows here, they have it for all of the 8 different Dream Realm bosses. I'm not going to go into all of that because that is going to take a long time if we go through all of that. We'll be stopping at Dream Realm. So we'll lead it off with Lily May. Lily May gets an overall S plus tier rank and gets the overall highest ranking score, which is 4.56 out of all of the heroes in the game right now. And I think Lily May definitely deserves that, like, basically ranking position, #1 hero in the game. I do think she is that because she is amazing in Arena and Supreme Arena. As you can see here, one of the few heroes on this tier list who are getting S plus tier in Arena and Supreme Arena. In Dream Realm, she gets an S tier ranking, which arguably I think should even maybe be an S plus tier. But if you take a look again, we'll go through all of the heroes here, and you're gonna see that basically they've been really strict with the heroes they give the S plus tier. Only the heroes who are actually used in almost every single endless boss, for example, and most pre-endless content are gonna be in the S plus tier. But that being said, Lily May still is a great damage dealer. In endless bosses now, she is not as great because of the fact that you have Ludovic, who is a great HP per second damage dealer. You have Sonya now, we have Harak. So Lily May has kind of been phased out a little bit. But for pre-endless, she's still pretty good. But I guess I understand the S tier for Dream Realm, not actually S+. For AFK stages, I don't think S is actually deserving for her. I would probably put her in A. Like, in AFK stages, I hardly use Lily May. Maybe in the early game when you're like a new player and you don't have other heroes or teams built, you can run Lily May, but overall, I don't think Lily May is actually that strong for AFK stages. So maybe A is more fitting for her there. Fresto is overall an S plus tier with 4.44 ranking points. So he's basically the second best hero in the game. And I agree with that. Like for Dream Realm, he's an S plus tier, which he has to be. He's used in every single endless Dream Realm boss. Pre-endless, though, he's not used at all. So that is just something to keep in mind. However, for the optimal endgame teams, for endless, you're going to need him built. Arena, Supreme Arena, they give him an S rank, and basically they've been so strict with how they give out the ranks for Arena and Supreme Arena that hardly any heroes are actually going to be in the S plus tier. Like, look at this here. Actually, in Arena and Supreme Arena, only 2 heroes in the entire game are going to be categorized for S plus. So I feel like maybe this is a bit overly strict. I don't know, because Fresto is also really solid in Arena and Supreme Arena both. But definitely a strong S tier and maybe even S plus tier. AFK stages, of course, he is top tier because for the Hypogean Celestial teams in this season on talent stages, as well as for the regular stages along with Smokey, he is a really important part of AFK stage pushing teams. And if we keep going down, Harak. Harak is overall the 3rd best hero in the game from this tier list. 4.13 ranking points, S plus tier overall. In AFK stages, he's S plus tier. Again, I don't know about this. Like, I do see Harak occasionally on the AFK stage progress when you're pushing the levels. However, he's not used nearly as much as Fresto, for example. I don't think, right? Fresto is used in pretty much all of the Celestial Hypogean teams, and like for example we have other ones like Smokey here who are used in a lot. So I don't know if Harak is actually deserving of AFK stage S plus tier. Arena, Supreme Arena, I agree with his ranking of S. In Supreme Arena though, I really think he is a strong candidate for S plus because on Mauler buff tiles he's crazy, on Hypogean Celestial buff tiles he's crazy. He's really strong, but for regular Arena he's not too great. I might even move him down to A tier for regular Arena, to be honest. Dream Realm overall S tier is good. Yeah, I mean overall that is a good ranking position for him because like he is used in 4 or 3 to 4 out of the endless bosses best teams, and pre-endless he's probably going to be used in a lot of the bosses. So he's kind of very similar to Lily May, but honestly if he is totally dominating in pre-endless, then he should be an S plus tier in Dream Realm. as well. Okay, moving on to Odie. So Odie is an S plus tier overall, 3.96 ranking points. AFK stages, arena, both going to be in the S tier. For AFK stages, yeah, he's not used as much, for example, as like Smokey. So I agree with this. And Supreme Arena's S plus tier because of the Mauler buff tiles. However, I don't think, like, for example, when you think about it, Harak on Mauler buff tiles is way scarier than Odie on Mauler buff tiles, in my opinion. And so I don't know if Odie is actually deserving of S plus tier in Supreme Arena if no other hero other than Lily May is getting that. So that is the thing. And for Dream Realm, he's only good in pre-endless, so he gets the A tier, which I agree with as well. Moving down, Smokey, on the final S plus tier hero on this list, gonna be a ranking points of 3.86. AFK stages and storyline gets an S plus tier because he is the key for pushing AFK stages, regular and talent stages. Arena, he is not great in regular arena. B tier is like appropriate. Supreme Arena with the Mauler buff tiles, he has become a lot stronger than before. So S tier is also pretty fitting for him. Dream Realm S plus tier because pre-endless he's a great buffer and healer, and in endless bosses he's a great damage dealer as well as buffer and healer. So Smokey is one of the top heroes in the game. Moving down the line, this feels really strange to me that Ludovic is actually going to be in rank number 9. Like, I know Ludovic is strong this season, but he's mainly only in Dream Realm because the ranking he gets is S rank overall. But Arena, Supreme Arena, S rank, I do not think is deserved. In regular arena, I don't think Ludovic is an S tier hero. And in Supreme Arena, he can be fine, but I don't think he's actually as for example, as powerful as Harak, Fresto, Smokey, Odie in the Supreme Arena. And in Dream Realm, he is the S tier. So for Dream Realm, he is used in a few top teams for endless bosses because of his high HP per second damage. And if you don't have maybe the optimal teams built up, you can use him in even more than that. Pre-endless, he's useless because he only has HP per second damage. Overall, I mean, yeah, S tier is probably fitting for him. He is more meta for Dream Realm than Odie because he is used in a lot of endless bosses, Ludovic is. So, yeah, I think overall that is fitting. But I think Supreme Arena ranking, I would move down to A tier maybe. And then overall, I don't think he should be this high. Talene is an overall S tier hero. We're gonna just, now go through a few at a time. Talene, Shakira, Rainier, Coco, Scarlita, all in the S tier. Okay, let's try to compare them a little bit. So Talene is S across the board. She's really good for talent AFK stages this season, but for regular, she is not used really at all. Regular arena, she is a good option. Supreme arena, she's a good option. I think S tier is deserved for Talene overall across the board for the PvP content. Maybe even arguably sometimes S plus tier. Dream Realm. So here's the problem, right? Now she has been phased out because of Harak's performance, and now Talene becomes an A rank hero. Basically, Talene is not used in any of the top endless teams, and before getting to endless, I'm gonna imagine that Harak is gonna steal the show and be like your hardest hitting damage dealer pre-endless as well, maybe along with Lily May. Probably Talene will not be used as much. So I think A is deserving there. So overall, I like the ranking for Talene here, but I think she belongs above Ludovic. I think Ludovic needs to be moved down. He doesn't really deserve his position. Shakir, regular arena, not too strong. I agree with that. Supreme arena, great with the Mauler buff tiles. And AFK stages, hardly ever used, so A tier. And Dream Realm, he is in the S tier because he's using a lot of endless teams. So overall, I do agree with that. I mean, they're being really strict with which heroes get the S plus tier, but Shakira is also a candidate for the S plus tier in Dream Realm because just how strong he is of a buffer, especially this season with the Mystic Charms. Rainier is going to be an overall S tier hero. He is now A tier in Dream Realm, which I do agree with. He's been a bit phased out of endless bosses. Pre-endless, I still think he's going to be very dominant. So I would actually maybe keep him in the S tier because he still is probably going to be meta for almost all of the pre-endless bosses. And for Talene might just be completely shifted out of the meta if you have Harak built and Lily May and everything else. So I think Rainier deserves an S tier for Dream Realm. For Supreme Arena, he is pretty good for Hypergene and Celestial buff tiles, or just for buffing up like one of your heroes on your buff tiles with a damage reduction. From his plus 10 exclusive equipment. Arena, he can be, I don't know about regular arena. I don't think he's really used that effectively in regular arena, because you can position around it and counter it. But in Supreme Arena, he's really good because of the buff tiles. You're forcing the opponent to basically get position swapped. AFK stages, he's not really used as much, so A tier. So overall, S tier ranking for Rainier is deserved, but I think maybe Dream Realm could be bumped up to S and Arena could be bumped down or reduced to A. Coco. Coco overall S tier hero along with the Scarlita. The difference between the two is both of them are bad in Dream Realm. Coco is a B tier because she is good pre-Endless for keeping your team alive. But once you get to Endless and there's not much issue of surviving, then you don't really need the Coco anymore. And so that is why she's B tier overall. Scarlita is in the C tier. Scarlita is in the C tier, and I mean, yeah, for Dream Realm, like, she's not really used at all, especially this season. For Supreme Arena, both Coco and Scarlita are in the S tier. I think Coco is really strong to protect your team with the damage reduction, and Scarlita is a decent option in Supreme Arena, but not top tier. For regular arena, this is the interesting thing. I do think that Coco is a good option, decent option for regular arena. For the same reason, good damage reduction support. Scarlita for regular arena, she's in the S plus tier. I don't know if she actually belongs there. I think she's fine. She is a decent option. But I do not think that necessarily Scarlita is always the best option to run on an arena defense anymore. It used to be the case, but I just don't see it anymore. And on offense, so I think if we're being really sort of strict with the S plus tier ranking, I do not think Scarlita deserves an S plus tier for regular arena anymore. And in storyline AFK stages, Coco is S plus, Scarlita is S. So Coco can be used in both regular and talent stages. I guess that's why she's S plus, and she is a good option. And Scarlita can be used in mainly only some regular stages, but mainly going to be used in the talent stages. So S tier for her. But no, this doesn't make sense because Harak is S plus tier. Scarlita is S tier, Tailene is S tier in AFK stages. That doesn't make sense to me because for regular AFK stages, Harak is not even used as much in the Celestial Hypogean teams, in my opinion, as Tailene and Scarlita. Maybe he can take the place of one of them, but I do not think he's much more dominant than they are in those pushing teams. It seems like he's doing around about the same as those Tailene teams were doing. So, yeah, I would not put Harak in the S plus tier for AFK stage. I think he needs to be down to S tier. Okay, moving on to the A tier heroes. So the A tier is going to be a big tier here. I see right here Nara is in the A tier. I think so. This is now kind of the issue. There are a lot of heroes who are given the S plus tier for AFK stages, and that basically bumps up their rating by quite a lot. And in my opinion, AFK stages are not as important as you would think, because after the early part of the season and a bit of pushing, then pushing AFK stages doesn't really matter as much anymore for your account, like your strength. And so I don't know if like it is that it should maybe get a lower weighting, the ranking of AFK stages, if we are going to give all of these heroes S plus tier. Okay, coming to Iron. So Iron overall A ranking hero, and in AFK stages, that is really where he shines, giving the S plus tier. The Iron Almus comp for talent stages as well as regular stages. Arena and Supreme Arena, he has been given the S tier, which I don't know really if he is belonging there, but they've given, like, basically S tier is given out quite leniently to a lot of different heroes. So like Iron is fine, but I don't think he's really a top tier option for either game mode anymore. And even a second best option, I don't know if I would agree with that. And then Dream Realm, of course, he is useless. C tier. Mikola is in the A tier below Iron. And Mikola, this doesn't make sense either. Mikola Dream Realm S tier is not making sense. She needs to be in the S plus tier for Dream Realm. This needs to be changed. She is used in almost all of the Endless Dream Realm bosses, and she's a top tier option. So, yeah, this needs to be changed. Supreme Arena, she is good with Molly buff tiles. Regular Arena and AFK stages, she's bad. I agree with that. BB is fine, but BB S plus. It has to be, in my opinion, and she has to be up into the S tier. Like, she's an S tier hero. Mikola is one of the best important heroes in the game. Thorn is in the A tier. And his main, like, basically uses are Supreme Arena, as you can see here, getting an S tier in both of them, which I do agree with. He's a good option for both of them. For Dream Realm, he's only B tier. He's really only useful in pre-Endless bosses, and really when you have limited options. Otherwise, like, running Rainier or other debuffers are better. Tassie is C tier in Dream Realm, but overall A tier because her AFK stages, and again, her AFK stages has to be S plus tier. If you have the other heroes like Iron, Coco in S plus tier for AFK stages, Tassie is like the queen of AFK stages this season. Even in regular stages, she's used. And Arena, Supreme Arena, S tier is fitting for her, but like top of S tier, maybe even pushing S plus. But basically, no heroes are given the S plus tier, other than for some reason Odie and Scarlita, which I don't think necessarily deserve it. I think more heroes need to be bumped up to S plus tier. It shouldn't be so strict with how it's being given. And I don't know if necessarily Tassie deserves it. I don't think like Tassie is an S plus tier PvP hero, but she is close. And in some comps, she is actually a really good option. Vala is an overall A tier hero, bad for AFK stages. S tier in Supreme Arena, which I kind of agree with. She is a good option, but not the top tier. Dream on B tier because she does have some uses if you have limited options of heroes. Haven, overall A tier hero. She has S in Arena and S in Supreme Arena, which is yeah, I mean, it is kind of fitting. She is a good hero for PvP content. Regular Arena, I just don't know. I feel like she isn't the greatest option. And even in Supreme Arena, she's just not the top tier option because her main problem is she can get killed before she can even cast her ultimate. She's a bit slow. That's the issue with her. But overall, I think she kind of belongs where she is. Damien is overall going to be an A tier hero, and Arena and Supreme Arena are his like redeeming qualities. He's good in both of them. And yeah, I mean, previously I would have considered Damien to be like S plus tier in PvP, but now I do believe he is an S tier hero. He's not necessarily the best hero you could be running, but for Arena, regular Arena, I do think he is one of the best heroes. I think for regular Arena, S plus tier is deserving. Supreme Arena, not as much. I think the thing, regular Arena is different because you don't have as much like ramp up and power mechanics from the buff tiles, for example. And so heroes which are overall slower, or they're basically impossible to remove for the enemy, like Damien, he can keep respawning and have good healing and haste. They get more value in regular Arena because regular Arena is more slow compared to the Supreme Arena bursting, in my opinion. So I like Damien more in regular Arena, and I think he deserves S plus tier there. Sonya overall is getting A for AFK stages. I don't know, like she is using some light bear AFK stages. She's not needed, but maybe S tier is where she belongs. Is more fitting for her for AFK stages. Dream Realm, she is in the S tier. Yeah, she belongs in the S tier, not the S plus tier because she's not using like all endless bosses, but definitely S tier because she is a really good Dream Realm option. Supreme Arena is A tier. Yeah, regular Arena, Sonya is not doing well. I don't know if C tier is actually fair, like maybe B tier. But yeah, from my experience with her in regular and even in Supreme Arena, she's just never been the best option. I'm always better off running another hero instead of her, which is unfortunate. Brutus is an A tier overall, A in AFK stages, A in Arena, and S in Supreme Arena with the C in the Dream Realm. Okay. So S in the Supreme Arena, yeah, he is really good this season with the Mauler buff tiles, and basically, if you can get him skill power, he can have an even longer duration of his invincibility. In the regular Arena, he's an A tier, which is, yeah, that is fitting. Other than the buff tiles, there's not really a reason you would want to be running Brutus. And AFK stages only really early game when you're in the starter story, for example, and in Dream Realm, he has no uses. Okay, let's go through the Temesia, Arden, Alamus together, because all three of them are the key heroes of the Alamus, Iron, Arden, Nuke team for AFK stages, talent stages, and even regular stages. So they all do deserve the S plus tier for AFK stages, there's no question about that. Apart from that, Arden has an S tier in regular Arena. I mean, in the late game, Arden is not a good hero for PvP, but for a long time before you have like all of the heroes built up, Arden can be a good part of regular Arena defenses and offenses. So I do kind of agree with this, and that is fine. Alamus and Nara, they both are like, yeah, I mean, Alamus does deserve maybe a higher placement for Supreme Arena. I think that there are still some good teams with them. Nara is not really good in PvP. I wouldn't even put in the A tier. I'd probably put in the B tier because she's just never a good option. In my opinion, it's really difficult to make her work. She has an S plus tier for AFK stages, And again, I don't know if I would put her there. Like, if she's in the S plus tier, then definitely Tossie has to be in the S plus tier. And probably even like Scarlita Taline, I don't know, because they're using a lot of Hypogean Celestial teams. Nara is used probably more frequently than even Scarlita and Taline, because for all the smoky oriented teams, even in regular stages, Nara is used, but you only need like one copy of her for her to do her function. So yeah, I mean, she can be in the S plus tier. It's not so bad. Elsa is in the Alistair's in the B tier overall. Nothing special for Arena and Supreme Arena. Not really great in AFK stages. Dream Realm, she's only using the Orison Dream Realm boss. So, I mean, I do understand the B ranking for Elsa. However, I would like to see her up to like an A rank, for example. But I guess the other A rank heroes are a lot better than her overall. Like, Elsa is not overall a good Dream Realm hero. It's just Orison that she has uses for. And who knows if Orison is even going to exist in the future seasons to come. So that is kind of the thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this ranking, kind of. Lenya is overall B tier. She has S in Supreme Arena, and definitely she deserves that. On the Molar buff tile, she's very strong. Dream Realm B tier because she's only really good in some pre-endless teams and never really a top option. Florabelle is S tier for some AFK stages. I guess that's fine. Arena Supreme Arena, yeah, she's nothing special in the other modes. Even in Supreme Arena, even though I ran her for a long time, I don't think she's really a top tier hero. It's just because based on the heroes I had, I thought it was a good option. And for Dream Realm, she is a B tier hero. Okay, now we're gonna come to the bottom of the barrel of heroes. This is really weird to me. Okay, this is weird, but also kind of interesting. So Rowan is S for AFK stages, which, I mean, he's using some smoky AFK stage teams. Supreme Arena, he's an S tier, which I don't really agree with that. I don't think he is a top option anymore in Supreme Arena. And regular Arena B tier, not really too great. Diona, this is the interesting thing. So, of course, for AFK stages, he's not useful. Supreme Arena, I think he belongs above A, because on the Hypogean Celestial buff tiles with Valor Shield spell, he is really strong. So I think definitely Diona belongs in the S tier for Arena and Superior Arena both. I wouldn't put him into the S plus tier, because on offense, he's definitely S plus tier, but on defense, he is lacking. And like, for example, we've basically put no heroes in the S plus tier in this tier list, other than Lily May. And Lily May is just overall, she's good on offense, she's good on defense. So that's like more understandable. We have a long way to go, guys. So, okay, let's try to speed this up. Diona, and then C tier for the Dream Realm. So Beryl is overall across the board A tiers, which I mean, Beryl is just a hero you can skip. He's not noteworthy in any regard. Sylvina across the board A tier. She's fine in PvP on offense, but on defense, not a great option. Carolina, Dumont, S plus tier for AFK stages. Dumont needs to be S tier, because I know Dumont is really good for some stages, but he's not used as frequently as the other S plus tier heroes for AFK stages. So Dumont should be S tier there, I believe. Supreme Arena and regular Arena. Well, okay, Supreme Arena, I think Dumont is actually pretty good. Carolina is not too great this season because of the fact that there are a lot of ways of making your heroes unaffected, and then Carolina doesn't get value from the crowd control. Carolina in regular arena deserves at least an A tier, because like we had Arden at S tier for regular arena, and Carolina is not bad in regular arena in the early game. So yeah, Sinbad overall is going to be B hero, BBA, A for Supreme Arena. Yeah, I don't know. I would just never really want to run Sinbad on my defense. I think there are always better options than him. And so that is why I think that is kind of deserving or fitting for him. Cassidy is S tier for AFK stages. Is Cassidy even used in any AFK stages? I don't really think. I mean, some Lightbearer stages, but like, it's not like she's needed in them. Like, it would be fine to run any other Lightbearer team in that hero in that comp. Overall, Cassidy is just a really passable hero, and all the heroes we're basically going to come to right now, they are going to be passable because they're at the B and below tier ranking. Antandra, Soren, they're both kind of similar. They're good for Supreme Arena because of the multi buff tiles, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, they're not going to be great. I do think Soren might be a bit better than Antandra, but I guess S tier or A tier for them. Parissa is just going to get S tier for the AFK stages, which I don't think, again, is that fitting because she's not that important for a lot of AFK stages. And in Supreme Arena, she's fine, but not a great option. Leica overall is not great. She's just good for the diurnal buffing comp. That is pretty much it. Cecia is overall a fine. It's just ABB. Some AFK stage use. Just very mediocre in PvP content. Not a great option and will be quickly replaced when you have more heroes built up. Hodgkin. Hodgkin CAA. This is going to be... Hodgkin doesn't deserve an A rank in Arena Supreme Arena, at least as of right now. He is not a good option in both of the PvP modes, so I would say B rank probably for him. And for AFK stages, he's also not useful. So Hodgkin is, again, a very skippable hero. Merrily. So Merrily has been basically Merrily Corrin heroes who were once kings and queens of Dream Realm. They have now become skippable. Status because of all the other top tier options we have, basically the power creeping. So she is an overall B tier hero, which I agree with. Dunlinger is an overall... Okay, so Dunlinger for Arena and Supreme Arena, I still think he's good for both. He's like a good PvP hero. I don't think I would rank him as high as Diurnal, because Diurnal, like, basically is needed in order to make Dunlinger work. And Diurnal can work without Dunlinger. It can be a fine thing to try, but they do their best when they are together. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I think Dunlinger A for PvP, both Arena and Supreme Arena, I would say. Maybe even S tier, arguably. But for the other game modes, it's very accurate. Kruger, Seth, Lucius, Granny. Okay, nothing really noteworthy here. Kruger for some Dream Realm, and actually in some Endless bosses right now, he is using one of them. Which is interesting, which wasn't happening before. Seth is good in Supreme Arena, I do agree with that, on the Mauler buff tiles, but not for regular Arena. Lucius is actually good for AFK stages, so I think he should be a higher rank for AFK stages. Granny is not really used anywhere, sadly. Like, Granny is just... they're just better. There are other heroes which do her job better, and you never need to run her. So then we have Corrin. So Corrin is a CC... B, and basically he's fallen out of the meta of the Dream Realm, but for battle drills he's good, but this tier list is not taking into account battle drills. Faye, Walker, Valen. Faye, Walker for some AFK stages with Tassi Lightbearer comp. Valen not used anywhere. Viperon is even below that though. Viperon can be decent for PvP, like Arena, Supreme Arena, so maybe a higher ranking is deserved there. Nero is not a great option really anywhere. Not recommended. Luca is better for AFK stages. Arena, Supreme Arena, he can be fine, but not a top tier option. Mainly also because light bearers are not that strong. So, in my opinion, I would say Luca A tier for AFK stages. A to S tier even. Because he is used quite a lot. Even, for example, Lucius should be A tier for AFK stages. Because both Lucius and Luca, basically one of them will be your tank for your Lightbearer team comp. Salazar, Citrana, Igor. Okay, Salazar, Citrana, Igor. None of these are important heroes to build on your account. None of them do anything which you need. Just some important heroes to mention. And then coming down the list further, Atalanta, Kafra. Again, completely passable heroes. Muriel, maybe for the Lightbearer Ravage run, but that is basically her only use. So other than that, her other game modes she's not great in. Brian Reese. Brian Reese do not belong so low here. Brian, okay, well, Brian's mainly good because of the charms this season. Without them, I don't think he would be used nearly as much as he is this season. However, even in PvP content, he can take a Lily Mate interruption. There's value behind that. He has stuns, he has some damage. Even Reese can be a decent option for regular Arena and Supreme Arena. Not a top tier option, but when you're limited on things, I think he can be good. So definitely I don't think they belong to C tier for them. I think I would say B or A tier for Arena and Supreme Arena, maybe respectively. But both of them belong at the top of the C tier, in my opinion. They should not be so low. So overall, guys, that is going to be it. That was a long video covering all of this tier list. You guys can let me know what you think about these rankings in the comment section down below. Overall, I think it is a pretty accurate tier list in some regards, but I do think some things are off. Like Tassi being the S rank, that doesn't make any sense. Like, especially based on how all the other heroes have been ranked here, and then also how they've only given 2 heroes, like basically, other than Lily May, the S plus tier ranking in any PvP mode. That's too strict in my opinion, and it doesn't really allow you to show exactly how powerful heroes are, because it ends up being you put a lot of then heroes in the S tier, which like you need to differentiate between them. So maybe Odie and Scarlia can stay in the S plus tier for these categories, but you should be adding more heroes into the S plus tier for the regular arena and the Supreme arena to basically match this. And also Mikola needs to be S plus tier in the Dream Realm. That doesn't make sense either, and she should definitely be in the S tier ranking. So overall, interesting idea. I've never thought about like doing like an overall basically ranking point weighted tier list onto your to basically order all the heroes in the game. That's really interesting, based on all the four major areas, which are AFK stage, arena, Supreme arena, Dream Realm. But anyway, guys, you can let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.